Hey guys and dolls, I'm back. It is Friday at 3:22 p.m. May 26th, 2017. I think these videos will be my legacy. This one, however, is going to be filled with interesting tidbits of facts about me. But first I have a question. Does anyone know what an amateur detective is? You can raise your hand if you feel like it, even though I can't fucking see you. If you know what an amateur detective is, or let's just start with, if you don't know what an amateur detective is, it is the people who, every word that comes out of their mouth on certain subjects is like they're spying on someone, trying to figure out why this person is acting this way or doing all this. A perfect example of an amateur detective is partners in your relationship or friends going through your phone to try to determine whether or not you're cheating or if you've said something about them. Another example would be the ones who go through your Facebook or your social media profiles and try to find surprising information about you and the things that you may be doing. Ultimately, those kind of people are also what I would call fucking stalkers. But an amateur detective is a person that is always trying to figure shit out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all of the time that they do this. Anytime somebody exhibits the behaviors of a detective, they'll say things like, I don't even know of a good example, honestly. It's pretty easy to figure out if somebody's playing. I call that shit out on people in a heartbeat, though. I'm like, why don't you mind your own fucking business and quit playing amateur detective? I mean, it's pointless. It's not going to get you anywhere. Who the fuck cares what Joe Blow is doing? Nobody fucking cares. Mind your own business. But anyhow, I'll progress through this as quickly as humanly possible. If you've known my ads or my videos have gotten a lot shorter, they're kind of around 20 minutes right now. Subliminal ads. I want to talk about subliminal ads today. That'll be the first topic. I don't know how many topics I'll cover today, but that would be the first one. I don't understand how people are affected by subliminal advertisements. I really don't. I mean, that pretty much screams that you as an individual is incapable of fucking independent thought. You have to be completely fucking brain dead to respond to subliminal messages, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's underlying messages in commercials or in advertisements on the radio, things like that, that suggest to your brain in a usually a quiet manner, sometimes it's even inaudible, suggest that you buy something or act a certain way. A good example of a movie that you can see or watch that explains subliminal messaging is Josie and the Pussycats. The movie. With the actual people, not the cartoon with the cat people. Watch that movie. It'll explain everything you need to know about subliminal messaging, and it's funny as fuck. I love all the actors in that movie. I'm not going to personally go out and buy a cheeseburger from McDonald's simply because I see it on or hear a commercial on television or the radio. It is not going to fucking happen. I don't respond at all to subliminal messaging, and that is because when I get an idea in my mind, I think it through. It's not, I don't just jump up and do things like is suggested in subliminal advertising. I don't eat from McDonald's anyway, so that shit does not work on me. And there's no amount of convincing, whether it be subliminal or not, that's going to get me to eat that kind of trash. That shit is horrible for a person's health. Food like that, fast food. There's certain fast food establishments that use real meat and things like that. McDonald's is not one of those. That shit is nothing less than chemicals and fucking poison. And it's not going in my body. For the parents out there, since we're on this topic, who are too lazy to cook at home and provide your kids with fruits and vegetables and real meat and real bread products and the atmosphere of the family environment by itself, you know, and the ones, you know who I'm talking about, that would rather hear their kid yelling, I want a Happy Meal, I want a Happy Meal, I want a Happy Meal. I'm here to tell you, when children start that shit with me, no. I straight up tell them, you ain't getting no fucking Happy Meal. You will eat what I make, or you won't fucking eat anything at all. It's that simple. In 20 years, you're not going to be too happy that you ate that shit, so it's not happening. You're going to be fat as a fucking house. And I'm not, no. You will eat what the fuck I cook, or you won't eat at all. I refuse to even eat canned or boxed food. If it is not fresh or frozen, and by frozen I don't mean frozen dinners like lasagnas and shit like that. I'm talking about frozen vegetables or fruits or fresh vegetables or fruits. Those are the kinds of foods I'm talking about. That damn smoke, what the fuck? You won't find trash around me. No fucking macaroni and cheese unless I've made it from scratch. I do not buy that box that comes with the powdered fucking cheese and shit. People have literally asked me to their house, and like my mother in particular, or my sister, which my sister doesn't really do that either, but she's just an example of someone who would invite me to our house. My mother is like, come over, and you can help me make dinner. And I'm like, okay. I think I've broken her of this now. That I used to go to her house, and there would be fucking meals in a box. For instance, stroganoff, shit like that. No, I'm not making. I don't even know how to fucking make that shit. And I'm not going to make that kind of shit. It's trash. It is fucking trash. I can spend the same amount of money and buy real stroganoff that I can make from scratch because I'm not fucking lazy and I don't want to put shit in my body that's nothing but fucking chemicals and trash. No. There is no hamburger helper up in here. It is not, no. I do not need his quote unquote help making the same shit from scratch. Hamburger helper, please. The only real thing about it is the fucking hamburger. I'm telling you, get back to the McDonald's thing or the fast food thing. Children can bitch, moan, whine, complain to me But I'll straight up tell them, you need to take your ass out into the fucking garden or onto the kitchen cabinet and get a tomato or a banana. You can make a fucking banana sandwich or a tomato sandwich. But the McDonald's, the fast food shit is not happening. You know? When you start paying bills, then you can eat whatever the fuck you want. And I have no say in it. But I ain't dealing with that shit until then. Then you can do what the fuck you want. Another poisonous thing nowadays, unless it's organic, is cow milk. Like when people buy gallons of milk. No, you look it up. You're not even supposed to drink milk after the age of 7 years old. And I, honestly, I think they changed the study and it's 5 years old now. Once you are that age, milk, your body has all kinds of problems even digesting milk. You can look that shit up. Milk does not come in my fucking house unless it's organic. And even then, yeah, sometimes I'll crave milk. But I also have a lactose intolerance, so but organic milk, generally, or goat's milk, or almond milk, which isn't even from an animal, or soy milk, things like that, those milks are fine because they're made out of nuts and vegetables and shit like that. That organic milk doesn't seem to really affect lactose intolerance. I mean, look how many people around the globe these days has a lactose intolerance. That should tell you that your body does not deal well with milk products after a certain age. Here are a few interesting things. Full disclosure, first of all, as an add-on or in addition to what I was just saying about things that are bad for your body, there's always some smart ass that wants to pop up and say, well, you drink and smoke, is that not bad for your body? Honey, I'm 40 fucking years old and don't look anywhere near that. And I will tell you why that drinking and smoking is not bad for my body. Because I am smart enough to take the necessary precautions to get that shit out of my system. Like medicinal herbs, certain juices, herbal tonics, which are teas that you make, things like that. But there's always some fucking smart ass that those are the first words that fly out of their damn mouth. I just roll my eyes and move on. There's something I want to address. I know a lot of homeless people watch my videos, especially ones from around here. And I don't know how the fuck they even afford a phone when they insist on being homeless in the first place. I mean, you can literally walk up to these fucking people and they will say that they choose to be homeless and live in a tent hidden in the bushes around here. And there are even little communities of them around here that all get together and cook together and do all this like a big fucking camping adventure. No, that shit is not for me. That would be my worst goddamn nightmare, is to have to live out of a fucking tent. I have got to have walls. I can't stand to sleep in a fucking tent, even when I am on a camping trip. One of my exes that I was with for a long time when I tried that shit, we went up to my hometown in Blowing Rock, which is the mountains, and we decided to rent a space at this campground. You know, certain places I've had recreational vehicles or RVs, and the other place was specifically for tents. And no, we set everything up, got the tent together. I know more than laid down, and I was like, no, Cannot do it. I cannot sleep like this. The humidity in a tent alone is enough to push me over the fucking edge. I do not like moisture on my skin at night when I'm trying to fucking sleep. For starters. Well, I got, fortunately enough for me, at the time I was driving a Ford Explorer, and trust me, I crawled up into the butt of the fucking back of that thing, put the seats down, and that's where the fuck I slept. And he came in and slept in there too. No, the wilderness, I love the wilderness, but I'm not trying to live in it. No. Lean-tos, tents, whatever, not for me. Now, if it was out of necessity, then I would do it. But I'm not just going to do it just for the sake of fucking doing it. My cousins go camping all the time. All the fucking time. It's like a weekend event. Every weekend. But that shit's not for me. Getting back to these homeless people that choose to live in tents. I mean, it's willing. It's not like they're forced to live there or they've had some traumatic life like the homeless people in most other places. This is a willing series of events. So, I have this question in my mind. How the fuck, these people are always wanting a relationship. Some of them. They always have a fucking girlfriend. I mean, it's like, I should write a book about this shit. There are certain homeless couples around here that every fucking body knows about. They are all in their goddamn business. My mentality is, if you're homeless, what the fuck do you have to offer somebody in a relationship other than fucking sex and companionship? That's it. That is not enough for me at all. Damn. That dude, did you hear that shit? It sounded like he drove up on the fucking curb. Hang on a second. Let me make sure that this guy didn't just drive through my yard. Them motherfuckers, in their defensive driving or whatever the hell that was, made me lose my train of thought. Homeless people around here. Not only do they want a relationship with someone, but they also want fucking pets. I cannot tell you how many of them have a dog or a cat. It has gotten to the point in this town that the local charities they provide dog food and cat food now. Now, you tell me how fucking ridiculous that is for somebody that lives in a damn tent. I could understand if you had a dog for protection, but we're talking about people with $500 chihuahuas and shit like that. Not to mention the homelessness around here. That shit is lucrative as a motherfucker. Because I know people that hold up signs around here. You know, the ones that say, I'm homeless. Can you spare change or whatever. These motherfuckers are pulling in $300 and $500 per day. Trust me, I've seen it fucking happen. I'm thinking, maybe I should just go hold up a fucking sign instead of doing an actual job. But I'm going to tell you what right now, I could never get away with that shit because I can't even walk up the fucking street without people hooting and hollering and wolf calling at me, acting like I'm some kind of fucking prostitute. I'm sure if you look back at my videos, you'll see that. So the holding the sign thing would never fucking work for me. Or it would work too well. I don't know, I may need to try that sometime just to see. That's exciting. Speaking of jobs and past careers and possible future careers, an interesting tidbit about me is, and it should not come as a complete surprise, I used to review pornos. Yes, you heard me correctly, pornos. That shit was fucking great, man. Great. I loved it. You sit at home and you make a lot of money doing it. Just by happenstance, I was fucking around online one day. I think it was Craigslist. And at the time, I was writing articles for magazines and shit like that, and blogs and doing all this. And I stumbled across this company that wanted people to review pornos. So I was like, this is kind of interesting. So I sent the guy an email, or the company, I suppose, an email, and I was like, well, what's this all about? I want more information, you know? And he was like, well, ultimately, I send you a porn that hasn't been published yet. Like it's on, you hear my loud ass neighbors out there laughing? That's cute. They send you a porno, you could only get one at a time. Of course, I got so seasoned in it, he would send me like a fucking box full of them. But they'll send you a porno that's not been put on the market yet. And you watch the porno, and then in each scene, because you know pornos is set up with scenes, you would review what happened in that scene and who was in it. Which it was a fucking nightmare trying to find out who some of these people were in the scenes, because it doesn't always put their name. Like sometimes it'll say Brandon and Jessica, and then it'll go off into the actual those two people fucking or whatever. But the ones that did not have that was a fucking nightmare. It was like an act of goddamn Congress to even find out who the fuck was in them. Because you gotta realize they're not even on the market yet, so you can't just look that information up. You have to go to the credits and do all this. Well, anyhow, that's what I used to do for a living, and I got so fucking good at it. And this guy trusted me so much. What I would do was review it, and I'd write a review for it, and then he would post the review online for people. Just like when you buy a movie now, and on the back of it, it says what it's about. That's what I did. But mine was broken down by scenes. Most movies, it's just like a highlight of what the movie is actually about. Pornos is a different story. So then I would review it, mail it back to him, and when he got the DVD back, he would mail a check to me. But he got to the point that I was doing like, I don't know, hundreds of those fucking things. And we're talking about making anywhere from $25 to $125 a pop. So I was bringing in some good income then. That'd be a good job for a man or people that just sit at home. You know, men obviously love porn. I'm not very fond of it anymore because people talk too goddamn much when they're on there. But it would be good for a person that had disability or something and couldn't work. You don't have to fill out an application or anything like that. But the most humorous part about me doing that was I used to live about 200 feet from one of my best friends. She had an apartment, and then I had an apartment like 200 feet away. Weird as fuck, but great because we could always see each other, and we could walk back and forth to each other's house. But I got her involved in this, and the first fucking video she gets, she was like, Jessica, you've got to come over here and see this. And I was like, I don't want to see it. You're supposed to review it, and you know they're trusting you to review it and not have input. You know, you don't want too many fucking opinions. I'm like, if I look at it, then I'm gonna review it, and he's gonna know that I participated because he knows how I write things. And she was like, no, you got to come see this. She, mind you now, she hadn't even turned the fucking thing on for like maybe 5 minutes and was trying to review it. I go over to her house, and I'm here to tell you, I don't know what kind of fucking snuff porn that he sent to her, but I immediately got, I literally threw up watching this porn. And I was like, girl, don't even fucking waste your time reviewing that. I'll give you one of mine and you can review that. And we'll just let him know what's going on. I got on the fucking phone and I called this fool and I was like, baby. Because I call everybody baby. What the fuck? You know, why did you send her this kind of porn when it's her first review? I was like, that shit made us both sick. Neither one of us can review it. He was like, okay, we'll just send it back and do all this. I said, well, I gave her one of mine to review because there's no, I said, please, Jesus Christ, do not ever let that shit hit the fucking market. If somebody did review that, I feel bad for them. It was the most gory, and I do mean gory. It was like watching a fucking horror movie that people were having sex through, and it constantly, and it was just fucking disgusting. In fact, I'd rather watch a horror movie that had people having sex in it because that shit goes by fast. I'm not gonna sit there for 2 fucking hours and watch that shit over and over and over again. And I couldn't handle it, and neither could she. So we shipped that motherfucker back quick. And I was like, well, I gave her one of mine to review because there's no way that either one of us are going to do this. But I swear, I pray to Jesus that shit was never fucking published at all. Nobody should have to bear witness to that kind of disgusting shit. It was so bad that I was literally to the point that I was about to call the fucking FBI or SBI and hand that shit over as fucking evidence. That is how bad this video was. Okay, guys, I didn't use a script this time. Shame on me. So this video has reached into the almost 30-minute category. So I'm going to have to call it quits for right now. I may make another one today, though. I'm rather enjoying doing this again. I've not had very many clients lately, so I'm kind of fucking bored. But anyhow, I love you guys. You know how to get in contact with me. At the end of this, I will put my contact information again. Feel free to add me on Facebook. But tell people to fucking subscribe if they can. Twitter, whatever. You can contact me. I do not care. I love to hear from people. Hey, since I can't shut up yet, I had forgotten to mention the fact that I wrote new music, so shoot me a letter or a note and tell me what you think about it. It will be at the beginning of this video.